Just born and banished with the war god father, Papa's legs rotting from enemy torture, burning with fever and unconscious. Corrupt guards demanding bribes, whilst wicked uncle pinches our last provisions. Mama weeping, saying we'll never survive this hellish journey to the northern wastes. Who could possibly handle this nightmare scenario? Little Xiaoxiao transmigrates into a month-old infant's body, whilst other golden fingers are either heaven-defying or flashy. Mine happens to be an infinite supermarket. Others gnaw tree bark and scrabble for grass roots. Yet I secretly feed Papa spiritual spring water and slip Mama hot steamed buns disguised as mud balls, tucking chocolate bars into torn cotton jackets. When war god Papa starts noticing something's amiss with those meaningful glances, the Women's Alliance springs into action. Dare those corrupt guards steal our food? Papa snaps whips with one hand whilst his legs remain useless. A broken hand can still kill. Dare those despicable relatives frame us? Wolf-repelling spray masquerading as a poison wasp, nest leaves them streaming with tears and snot. Dare bandits attempt assault? Mighty negotiation traps, teach them proper manners. Our exile journey transforms into a path of prosperity. Greenhouses rise in the savage wilderness, and when imperial inspectors arrive to investigate, I casually produce a bag of pearls, leaving them utterly speechless. War god Papa cradles me close asterisk. Asterisk, you are not a lucky star. You are the fire of rebirth. Thud. Watch our family turn this hellish exile into the life of wealthy frontier lords in the wilderness. Let's dive into the story proper. If you fancy this tale, do show your support. Subscribe to our channel for daily story updates. The north wind whipped goose feather snow like knife blades across faces, stinging brutally. I huddled in tattered hemp swaddling, shivering terribly, not from cold, but because this infant body was frighteningly weak. A month-old baby couldn't even twitch a finger. What utterly devastated me was that I wasn't naturally born as this child. I am Xiaoxiao, yesterday still a gold standard warehouse manager at a 21st century chain supermarket. One moment I'd been stock-taking instant noodle inventory, the next I'd awakened in this godforsaken frozen wasteland. Nearby, iron chains dragged across ground with harsh clanking, accompanied by suppressed coughing fits, each cough seemingly threatening to expel entire lungs. That was my bargain father, Xiao Jue. Through Mama's broken sobs, I learned this man had once been the Great Jin Empire's northern border general. For 10 years, he'd guarded the frontier with his spear, slaying countless enemies, a war god in common folks' mouths. 3 months ago, he'd been framed for treason and collaboration. Overnight, the entire Xiao family was demoted to criminal slaves, men exiled to the northern wastes, women consigned to servitude. During transport, Papa suffered deliberate assault, his legs brutally shattered. Now the wounds festered with infection, high fever persisting, unconscious for 3 days and nights. I strained to turn my eyes towards the man flanked by 2 guards. His prison garb had long lost its original color, trouser legs seeping blackish-red pus that froze into scabs in the bitter wind, only to be soaked through by fresh blood. His face was paper white, that sharp jawline clenched tight. Even unconscious, his brow carried an aura of world-defying menace, though presently shrouded in endless wretchedness and agony. Cough, cough, asterisk, another violent coughing fit racked Xiao Jue's body. The guard supporting him kicked disgustedly. If you are not dying, hurry along, delay our schedule, and I'll flay your hide. Mama Lin hurried forward, using her thin frame to shield her husband, voice choked yet defiant. Please, officer, his leg wounds are severe, he truly cannot walk. Can't walk. Then he'll bloody well have to. The lead guard, Li Kui, a corpulent brute with a vicious face, spat contemptuously. His gaze swept over Lin with undisguised greed. There is a way though, cough up some travel fees. Wasn't General Xiao rather wealthy? How can he not afford to grease a few palms now? Lin's body trembled, tears flowing harder. The household goods were all confiscated long ago. Truly, truly there is no money left. She clutched a 5-year-old boy, my bargain younger brother, Xiaoxiao. The little fellow's lips had turned blue from cold, yet he understood enough not to cry. only gripping Mama's sleeve tightly, large eyes brimming with terror. Li Kui sneered coldly, waving his hand. Search her. This delicate little thing surely has hidden assets stashed away. Several guards immediately swarmed forward, roughly pawing through Lin's belongings. Xiaoxiao burst into frightened wails, only to be silenced by Li Kui's murderous glare, reduced to whimpering sobs. I trembled with rage. Yet, as a mere infant, I could only produce incoherent babbling sounds, utterly helpless. Just then, a couple pushed through the crowd, my uncle Xiao Laosan and Aunt Zhao. These distant Xiao relatives were also being exiled together, constantly taking advantage of our family throughout the journey. Xiao Laosan rubbed his hands obsequiously. Captain Li, don't trouble sister-in-law. A woman, where would she have money? His tone shifted craftily as he eyed the cloth bundle in Lin's arms, our family's remaining half-bag of coarse grain cakes, carefully saved by Mama to sustain Papa's life. Though sister-in-law seems to have some provisions there, why not share them as a gesture of goodwill? Lin's face went ashen, clutching the bundle desperately. No, this is to save my husband's life, Zhao shrieked. Sister-in-law, at this point, what is yours and mine? We're all family survived this exile road first. Besides, Xiao Jue's nearly dead anyway. Keeping those cakes is just wasteful. She lunged forward to snatch the bundle. Lin fought to protect it but proved no match. Soon the bundle was seized. Xiao Laosan swiftly stuffed the cakes into his own jacket, fawningly offering Li Kui a couple. Captain Li, do try some. Li Kui grabbed a cake, taking a massive bite. You are the sensible one, lad. Lin stared at her empty hands. Utterly devastated, she collapsed in the snow, cradling unconscious Xiao Jue, looking at her starving young son and me in swaddling. Tears fell like broken pearls, instantly freezing into ice crystals. What shall we do? Her voice was barely a whisper. Laden with infinite despair, no food, no medicine. We'll all perish on this road before reaching the northern wastes. Howling wind scattered ground snow, striking my face with bone-chilling cold. Other exiles appeared equally gaunt and hollow-eyed, some already gnawing roadside bark and grass roots. The scene was pure hell. I closed my eyes, heart churning. As a seasoned warehouse manager, the 4 words I most despised were resource shortage. Yet here we were, lacking food, clothing, medicine, Papa gravely injured and unconscious, Mama in despair, little brother starving, and I a powerless infant. This script was absurdly hardcore. I wailed internally. If I'd known about transmigrating, I'd have at least brought some instant noodles. Wait, I suddenly recalled something. Before dying, I'd been inputting the supermarket's warehouse code to begin inventory. That password I'd used for 10 years, carved into my very bones. I instinctively recited mentally, *5201314, just then. A faint glimmer flickered in my mind like a tightly sealed door trembling slightly. My heart leaped. Could it be? Before I could process further, bone-piercing cold enveloped me, consciousness gradually blurring as I drifted into sleep. Hazily, I seemed to hear Mama crying my name. Xiaoxiao, my precious Xiaoxiao, please don't let anything happen to you. Night fell. The exile convoy finally halted to camp at a dilapidated mountain shrine, essentially a wind-battered ruin with a half-collapsed deity statue, barely providing shelter from the elements. Guards built fires, gathering to warm themselves, whilst drinking and eating the coarse cakes stolen from Xiao Laosan, their laughter echoing merrily. We prisoners could only huddle in the snow outside, denied even approach to their flames. Lin held my brother and me tightly, using her body to block the bitter wind. She hadn't eaten all day, lips cracked and peeling, face pale as paper, the light in her eyes steadily dimming. Xiao Jue remained unconscious, burning with fever that made his entire body scalding, whilst he muttered painful delirium about slaying enemies and defending cities. Len reached out with trembling fingers to touch her husband's forehead, tears falling again. Ju-ji, please wake up. If you leave us, how will we 3 survive? Her voice grew weaker, body swaying before she collapsed backwards, eyes rolling shut. Mama, Xiao Bao cried out, frantically shaking Lin with tiny hands. I panicked too, twisting desperately whilst making urgent baby sounds, but being so small, nobody could understand my distress. Surrounding prisoners were too self-absorbed to help. Xiao Laosan and Zhao huddled in their corner, gnawing cakes, merely sneering with obvious schadenfreude at our plight. Li Kui, hearing the crying, bellowed irritably, "Shut that racket, cry again, and I'll throw you out for wolf fodder." Xiao Bao immediately stifled his sobs, little body shaking like a sieve, watching Mama lying motionless in the snow, her face deathly pale with barely perceptible breathing. My heart felt needle pricked. No, Mama couldn't die. Papa was unconscious, little brother still young, and I hadn't even activated my golden finger yet. Our family couldn't fall apart like this. I recalled that morning's glimmer of light, that warehouse password. Concentrating all mental power, I frantically repeated, *5201314, 5201314, open up for me, over and over. My consciousness felt pulled by invisible force, spinning dizzyingly. After an eternity, the surrounding darkness suddenly gave way to brilliant white light. I was stunned. Where was this? Before me stretched orderly shelves, stocked with countless goods from snacks and beverages to grain and cooking oil, daily necessities to hardware and electronics. Everything imaginable was here. The familiar layout, familiar signage. This was exactly the chain supermarket where I'd worked for 10 years. I gaped, instinctively stepping forward, 2 paces before looking down to find my feet had no substance, only a faint transparent shadow. So I'd entered this supermarket space with my consciousness alone. I was thrilled beyond words. My golden finger had truly arrived. As the warehouse manager, I knew every single item here intimately. With this infinite supermarket, how could our family fear starvation or freezing? I rushed excitedly towards the snack section, grabbing a pack of beef jerky to take outside. But just then, powerful resistance hit me. The jerky refused to leave this space no matter how I tried. After several failed attempts, I grew frustrated. Could I only look but not take? I sat down dejectedly, pondering hard. No, wait, I was currently an infant. My consciousness could enter, but my body couldn't. Perhaps I needed to use mental projection to transport items out. Concentrating intently on a bottle of mineral water, I mentally commanded, go out, go to Mama's side. The next second, the water vanished before my eyes. Elated, I quickly withdrew from the consciousness space, opening my eyes in the snow beside Mama. I strained to look around her, nothing there. How could this be? Was my spiritual power insufficient? Unwilling to give up, I re-entered the supermarket space. This time, I noticed an automated vending machine in the corner labeled Spiritual Spring with small print. Daily limit: 1 bottle, contains mild healing properties. My eyes lit up. This would definitely help Papa's injuries. Approaching the machine, I discovered mental commands alone could retrieve items. Carefully taking 1 small bottle of Spiritual Spring, thumb-sized, and containing clear, fragrant liquid, I embraced it experimentally. With my fullest mental concentration, I commanded, to Mama's embrace. Quickly, dizziness struck as my consciousness felt drained, vision blackening when I reopened my eyes. A tiny glass bottle had appeared in Mama's clothing. Success! I nearly wept with joy, though immediately noticed my head swimming with exhaustion, barely able to move my eyes. Clearly, with this infant body, daily mental transport was severely limited, perhaps 3 items maximum, each requiring massive spiritual energy that would send me into deep sleep. Glancing at unconscious Mama, then fevered Papa, I made my decision. Priority: save Mama, save Papa. Mustering final reserves, I re-entered the supermarket space. This time, I bypassed other goods, heading straight for the prepared food section with my favorite meat buns, fresh steaming, thin-skinned with generous filling. Selecting 1 bun, I concentrated all mental power. I Winama's sleeve pocket, another wave of dizziness. My consciousness plunged into darkness. Before losing awareness, I thought I heard Mama's faint groaning. Lin awoke to rich, meaty aromas. She opened her eyes groggily. Bitter wind still howled. snow's chill penetrating thin prison garb until her very bones ached. Yet that meat scent seemed magical, beckoning her nose. She thought starvation had triggered hallucinations, couldn't help but sniff deeply. No, this fragrance was real. Instinctively checking her sleeve, her fingertips touched something warm, heart-jumping. She quickly withdrew it, a plump, white meat bun still radiating heat, delicately pleated and exuding heavenly aroma. Lin stared in bewilderment. Where had this come from? She surveyed the surroundings, only endless wind and snow with huddled prisoners. Guards remained drinking by their fire, impossible for anyone to have given her buns. Could it be? Her gaze fell upon the half-collapsed deity statue, eyes flashing with disbelief. Had the mountain god shown divine mercy? She quickly hid the bun in her jacket, terrified others might notice. Checking her clothing again, she found a tiny glass bottle containing clear, fragrant liquid. Where had this come from too? Lin's heart pounded. She looked at her infant daughter Xiaoxiao, sleeping peacefully with rosy cheeks showing no signs of hunger or cold. Then she regarded her unconscious husband, still burning with fever, lips cracked and bleeding. Gritting her teeth, she decided regardless of these items' origins, saving her husband's life took precedence. Carefully uncorking the bottle, she fed the spiritual spring water bit by bit into Xiao Jue's mouth. The liquid dissolved instantly, flowing down his throat with refreshing sweetness. After the water, Lin broke the meat bun in half, one portion for Xiao Jue, the other for herself. She'd starved all day. Biting into the bun, tender meat and rich juices exploded across her palate, a familiar taste that instantly brought tears to her eyes. How long since she'd enjoyed such deliciousness? She dared not eat greedily, taking small, careful bites, fearing this might all be a dream. Having consumed the spiritual spring and half the bun, Xiao Jue's scalding forehead gradually cooled, breathing becoming more stable. Lin's joy was boundless, more convinced these were divine gifts from the mountain deity. She kowtowed reverently 3 times to the broken statue, murmuring, "Thank you, mountain god, for your protection." Her voice was quiet yet profoundly devout. Xiaoxiao had long been drooling at the meat scent, watching Mama with pitiful eyes. Lin patted her son's head, feeding him the remaining bun filling. The little one wolfed it down, still licking his lips afterward. "Mama, delicious," he said. Lin ruffled his hair, eyes reddening. "Good, little treasure. When Papa recovers, we'll have proper meals." Just then, Xiao Jue's fingers twitched as he slowly opened his eyes. His gaze appeared confused, taking in surroundings before focusing on his wife and children. Finally settling on baby Xiaoxiao, Lin saw him wake and burst into tears of joy. "Ju Ji, finally awake." Xiao Jue nodded, throat painfully parched. He opened his mouth, voice hoarse beyond recognition. "Water." Lin quickly offered the remaining spring water. Xiao Jue drained it completely, that refreshing sweetness instantly soothing his throat's burning sensation. His eyes gradually cleared. Seeing Lin's pale face and bun crumb remnants on her lips, he frowned. Where did this bun come from? Lin dared not hide anything, recounting recent events before adding, "The mountain god showed mercy, granting us salvation. Look, your fever's broken." Xiao Jue followed her gaze to the collapsed statue, eyes flickering with doubt. A battlefield veteran, he believed neither in ghosts nor gods, only in the spear in his hands. Yet his burning pain had indeed vanished, wounds feeling refreshingly cool rather than agonizingly sharp. Everything seemed too strange. His gaze returned to baby Xiaoxiao. The little one had awakened unknowingly, staring at him with bright, clear eyes that seemed oddly serene, and knowing for her age like an adult assessing their situation. Xiao Jue's heart lurched. He'd seen every kind of gaze imaginable in years of warfare. But how could a month-old infant possess such eyes? He couldn't help reaching out to stroke his daughter's soft cheek, voice hoarse with curiosity. "Little one, why do your eyes seem so adult-like?" Lin glanced down at her daughter, laughing. "All babies' eyes look that way. You've just woken, perhaps you are seeing things." But Xiao Jue shook his head, staring intently at Xiaoxiao's eyes. His heart churned with shock. This daughter was far from ordinary. Next morning, the exile convoy resumed its journey. Though Xiao Jue had awakened, his legs remained immobile, requiring guard support. However, his spirits had vastly improved, face no longer deathly pale, even managing conversation with Lin. This delighted Lin immensely, deepening her gratitude toward the mountain deity. I Xiaoxiao, having expended enormous spiritual energy yesterday, slept nearly constantly until this morning's awakening revealed partially restored mental power. Re-entering the supermarket space, I found the spiritual spring dispenser displaying today's available bottle. I immediately retrieved the spring water, using mental projection to place it in Mama's embrace. This time proved smoother with less spiritual drain. Apparently practice improved proficiency. Over subsequent days, I daily transported items from the supermarket, carefully choosing to avoid suspicion. For instance, I removed self-heating rice packaging, molding it into mud ball shapes for Mama's cloth bundle. During meals, Mama would find secluded spots to secretly heat the rice, sharing it with Papa and brother. Similarly, I melted chocolate onto flatbread, disguising it as coarse grain cakes indistinguishable from other prisoners' fare, while providing rich nutrition and calories. I also procured thermal underwear from the supermarket for Mama to sew into our torn prison garbs lining, ensuring our family never felt cold again. Xiao Jue, daily consuming spiritual spring water, healed remarkably fast. Previously festering wounds had scabbed over, swelling nearly eliminated. By contrast, other exiles suffered terribly. Weather grew colder, snow heavier, roadside bark and roots depleted. Many began fighting over food, even bloodying each other for half a steamed bun. Xiaoxiao and Zhao, having hoarded stolen grain cakes, were discovered by other prisoners who promptly beat and robbed them. Zhao sat wailing in the snow. "My cakes, my livelihood." Xiaoxiao cowered silently nearby, face filled with humiliation and resentment. Watching this scene, I felt utterly unmoved. Deserved it, that is what selfishness brings. At midday, the convoy rested in a mountain hollow. Guards warmed themselves around fires while prisoners huddled shivering in corners. Lin found a windbreak spot, holding my brother and me while secretly heating a mud ball from her bundle. Soon rich food aromas wafted forth. Xiaoxiao's sensitive nose immediately perked up, whispering, "Mama, smells wonderful." Lin quickly covered his mouth, glancing around warily. "Quietly, don't let others hear." Xiao Jue leaned against a rock, observing his wife's cautious behavior before looking at me. His gaze grew profound. These past days had revealed numerous oddities. Since that first awakening, divine miracles sporadically blessed their household. Mama would mysteriously find meat buns, discover healing potions, obtain warm clothing. Each occurrence was preceded by the baby's crying spells or prolonged sleep. Were these truly divine interventions? Xiao Jue doubted it, suspecting everything connected to his youngest daughter. He studied Xiaoxiao. The little one met his gaze with bright eyes and a barely perceptible smile. His heart jumped again. Just then, Xiaoxiao finished eating, patting his round belly before whispering to Papa, "I discovered a secret." Xiao Jue raised an eyebrow. "What secret?" Xiaobao whispered conspiratorially. "Every time sister drools, Mama finds delicious food. Sister's amazing." Lin paled with fright, quickly silencing her son. "Xiaobao, don't talk nonsense." But Xiao Jue merely smiled, stroking his son's head while gazing thoughtfully at Xiaoxiao's eyes, holding curiosity, anticipation, and barely detectable tenderness. He remained silent, yet a bold hypothesis formed in his mind. Hearing my brother's words, I nearly rolled my eyes, drooling. That is exhaustion-induced sleep after expending spiritual energy, causing natural drool. Okay? However, his observation made me realize this couldn't continue. Papa was too clever, he'd surely grown suspicious. Rather than await discovery, better to confess voluntarily. Of course, as a speechless infant, I could only communicate differently. I looked at Xiao Jue and deliberately blinked twice. Seeing my gesture, his eyes lit up as understanding dawned. Over following days, Xiao Jue began subtle testing, deliberately mentioning desires for hot soup while watching my reactions. I'd seize moments when Mama wasn't looking to mentally transport soup into his embrace. Receiving the soup, Xiao Jue's eyes flashed with shock before resuming composure, though his gaze toward me grew increasingly tender. Similarly, when his wounds itched and he frowned unconsciously, I immediately provided anti-itch ointment. After several instances, Xiao Jue completely confirmed that their family's miracles originated from his month-old daughter. He didn't broadcast this discovery, merely silently cooperated while helping Mama maintain the facade. That evening after camping, Lin took brother to fetch water from a nearby stream, leaving Xiao Jue and me alone. He leaned against a rock, gazing down with eyes deep as lake water, reaching out to gently caress my face. His voice was hoarse yet profoundly solemn. Xiaoxiao. Papa knows you've been helping us. I blinked twice in response. Xiao Zhao's eyes instantly reddened. This veteran warrior who'd battled 10 years, slaughtered countless enemies, never shed tears, not when framed for treason, not when his legs were shattered, not during exile to the northern wastes. Yet now, looking at this tiny infant, he couldn't restrain his emotion. Papa's useless, couldn't protect you three, requiring a baby to save our lives. His voice choked with self-reproach and guilt. Xiaoxiao, rest assured, Papa will recover, will protect you, your mama, your brother. Never again will you suffer such hardships. Seeing his reddened eyes, warmth filled my heart. Though this bargain father situation was pitiful, he was genuinely good. Xiao Jue drew a deep breath, suppressing inner turmoil while gazing at me expectantly. Xiaoxiao, if heaven truly aids me, if you can understand Papa's words, blink twice. I looked at him and unhesitatingly blinked once, twice clearly and decisively. Xiao Jue's pupils contracted sharply. He stared intensely, lips trembling speechlessly. After a long moment, he embraced me tightly, voice choking. Good, good. My Xiaoxiao is Papa's lucky star, our Xiao family's blessed child. His embrace was warm and powerful, carrying faint blood scent yet infinitely comforting. I knew from this moment forward, Papa and I shared an alliance. We held a common secret. Xiao Jue held me long before reluctantly loosening his grip, looking into my eyes with lingering fear. Xiaoxiao, don't use your abilities lightly anymore. It is too dangerous. He paused, adding, if you need anything, tell Papa. Papa will provide cover. I blinked, understanding. Xiao Jue smiled, his first genuine expression since exile began. When Lin returned with brother and water bucket, seeing her husband smile, she momentarily froze before smiling too. JG, you seem cheerful today. Xiao Jue nodded, looking at his wife's son. Finally, me eyes blazing with renewed light. Very good indeed. He knew that with his daughter's presence, their family would definitely survive this exile road, definitely rise again. He, Xiao Jue, was the Great Jin's war god. Even fallen into mire, he'd never remain defeated. Those who'd framed him, those who'd humiliated his family, he'd spare none. Deep night arrived with howling wind, yet the mountain shrine radiated warmth. Xiao Jue leaned against stone, holding me while Lin nestled beside him, and Xiaoxiao Bao slept peacefully between them. I studied Papa's resolute profile, silently vowing, Papa, Mama, little brother with me here, will definitely survive the northern wastes. We'll live exceptionally well. Once we recover our strength, once we accumulate sufficient power, we'll return for revenge. Closing my eyes, my consciousness entered the supermarket space. Countless goods lined shelves like beacons of hope. I knew our family's golden days were just beginning. Days progressed through wind, snow, and hardship. As we neared the northern wastes, convoy atmosphere grew increasingly oppressive. More prisoners died from cold and starvation, corpses carelessly discarded roadside as wolf fodder. Only our Xiao family's condition improved daily. Papa's leg injuries, nourished by spiritual spring water, allowed him to stand with makeshift crutches. Mama used supermarket needles and fabric scraps to sew warm boots for everyone. Brother Xiaobao had actually gained weight, his face rosy rather than the previous skeletal wretch. This particular evening, noting our solitude, I expended half my spiritual energy transporting a whole roasted chicken from the supermarket. oil paper wrapped. The bird glistened golden with heavenly aroma that could bewitch souls. Mama frantically bundled the chicken in her torn jacket, shooting me a reproachful glance whilst involuntarily swallowing. "This smells too strong, we need somewhere hidden to eat." "Find shelter," Papa whispered, eyes alertly scanning distant guard tents. Our family crept behind the mountain shrine's rock pile. Papa kept watch while Mama unwrapped the chicken, tearing off a drumstick for me though, as a month-old infant, I could only symbolically taste it. The meat was tender and succulent. Brother devoured his portion messily while Mama took delicate bites, her expression relaxed for the first time in ages. Papa watched us with gentle smiles, taking only modest breast meat portions. We'd forgotten that, in this wilderness, meat aromas were impossible to conceal. Before finishing even half the meal, urgent footsteps approached with Li Kui's coarse bellowing. Knew the Xiao family was suspicious. Nearly starving yet somehow eating meat. Search them, my heart sank. Li Kui led several guards charging forward like hungry hawks spotting the chicken in Mama's hands, greed practically oozing from their eyes. Audacious criminals, hoarding food illegally. Li Kui snatched the chicken, hurling it groundward and stomping it to pieces. "Such delicacies aren't for you slaves." Mama's face went ashen, shielding us. "Officer, this was a wild chicken we caught." "Took great effort, caught," Li Kui sneered coldly, surveying the surroundings. "In this frozen wasteland, where is the wild chicken? You've clearly hidden money, bribed someone for deliveries. Search everything, turn out all their belongings." Guards immediately swarmed, overturning our cloth bundle until coarse grain cakes scattered everywhere. My anxiety peaked. The chicken's oil paper wrapping remained in Mama's sleeve. If discovered, we'd have no explanation. That smooth white paper didn't belong to this era. Mama realized the danger, clutching her sleeve desperately with pallid features. A sharp-eyed guard noticed her bulging sleeve, reaching forward, "Hand over what is inside." "Don't touch my Mama," Brother Xiaobao screamed, lunging forward only to be kicked down brutally. "Xiaobao," Lin cried, trying to help her son but being firmly restrained. Li Kui approached smugly, extending his hand toward Mama's sleeve. Just then, a cold voice commanded, "Stop." Papa had somehow risen, supporting himself on his makeshift crutch with spine straight as pine, though legs trembled slightly. His eyes blazed with murderous intent that froze Li Ku's movement. "Xiao Jue," Li Ku scoffed. "You cripples still trying to protect your woman. Believe I won't break your other leg right now." Papa said nothing, slowly raising his hand, that same hand which once gripped spears to slay enemies, now veined and powerful. "My legs are ruined." His voice was low and hoarse yet carried overwhelming presence. "But my hands can still kill." Li Kui hesitated momentarily before laughing loudly. "Scare who? A cripple who can barely walk." His words barely finished when Papa struck suddenly. The makeshift crutch thrust forward like a spear, swift as lightning. Li Kui couldn't react before his wrist was pinned by the wooden shaft, pain making him grimace. Simultaneously, Papa's other hand flashed out, seizing the whip from Li Ku's waist and crack. The leather whip snapped cleanly in half under Papa's single-handed grip. The broken pieces clattered to ground. Surrounding guards stared dumbstruck at Xiao Jue, none daring to advance. Li Kui's face went deathly pale, cold sweat streaming from wrist pain. Only now did he remember this man had once been the Northern Borders War. God, even with ruined legs, his killing intent wasn't something petty officials could withstand. You dare assault an officer." Li Ku sputtered with false bravado. Papa released the pressure on his wrist, smiling coldly. "Assault? I merely prevented you from soiling my family's clothing." His gaze swept every guard present, cold as ice. "Though House Xiao has fallen, it is not your rabble's place to bully us. Today's incident can be forgotten, but if there is a next time," he paused, voice carrying bloody menace, "I don't mind ensuring you permanently remain on this road." Guards cowered under his aura, none daring to speak. Li Ku stared at the broken whip, then at Xiao Jue's frigid eyes. Though intimidated internally, he refused to retreat empty-handed. His gaze swept around, suddenly spotting something in the rock. crevices Mama's hastily hidden chicken wrapping. My heart tensed just as Mama began coughing loudly, drawing everyone's attention. Papa smoothly stepped sideways, blocking Li Kui's view while winking at me. Understanding immediately, I concentrated all mental power to transport the paper wrapper back into supermarket space. When Li Kui finally charged toward the rocks, nothing remained completely empty despite his frantic searching. Impossible. Li Kui refused to accept it, clawing through stones yet finding no trace. Papa leaned on his crutch, speaking mildly. Captain Li, if you found nothing, please withdraw. We need rest for tomorrow's journey. Li Kui ground his teeth, knowing today's effort was futile. He glared venomously at Papa before snarling, "Just wait and see," then leading his men away in humiliation. Crisis averted, Mama sighed with relief while checking brother for injuries. Papa approached, lifting me gently as his fingertips brushed my cheek tenderly. "Xiaoxiao, thank you." I blinked in response, thinking, "Thord Papa, we're family." Following this incident, though Li Kui dared not openly trouble us, he constantly created covert difficulties positioning our camping spot in wind gaps, deliberately reducing our grain rations. Papa remained unconcerned. With our infinite supermarket, we feared neither hunger nor thirst. However, some people couldn't bear our prosperity, namely Uncle Xiaoxiao. Since losing his cakes and suffering beatings, Xiaoxiao had harbored resentment toward our family. He suspected we'd hidden valuable treasures otherwise. How could we live so comfortably during exile? This midday, the convoy rested in woodland while guards drank and feasted together. Prisoners huddled in corners, gnawing barely digestible bark. Xiaoxiao sidled up to Li Kui, whispering while repeatedly glancing our direction. Foreboding filled me. Soon enough, Li Kui approached with armed guards, wielding a rust-stained iron blade. "Xiao Jue, someone's reported you are hiding weapons, plotting rebellion." I internally scoffed. What a serious accusation. Xiaoxiao emerged from behind the guards, pointing at Papa with a fawning smile. "Captain, I witnessed it myself. Last night he secretly buried a sword in the forest, claiming once his legs healed, he'd kill us all for revenge." This proclamation caused uproar among nearby prisoners. What? Xiao Jue's rebelling? Heavens, he is a condemned criminal. How dare he? We're doomed if he implicates us all. Xiaoxiao reveled in the surrounding chatter, gazing at Papa with malicious glee. "Xiao Jue, confess. That sword you hid, isn't it buried beneath the stone beside you?" Li Kui immediately shouted, "Search, move those stones." 2 guards advanced toward the rocks by Papa's side. "Wait," Papa spoke slowly, rising while releasing me. He stood facing Xiaoxiao with icy regard. "Xiaoxiao, I've treated you well. Even during House Xiao's downfall, I never shortchanged you. Why this false accusation?" Xiaoxiao's eyes flickered briefly before he stiffened his neck. "No false accusation. I speak truth. You do want rebellion." Papa laughed coldly. "I am a cripple who can barely walk. What rebellion could I mount?" He gestured toward his legs. "I only want to bring my family safely to the northern wastes. Such treasonous thoughts are beneath me." Li Kui wouldn't hear it, waving dismissively. "Less chatter. Search. Once found, you'll face consequences." Guards immediately began moving stones. Beneath lay nothing, no sword, not even metal scraps. Xiaoxiao was dumbfounded. Impossible. It was definitely here. I saw it myself. He rushed forward, searching frantically yet finding nothing. I smirked internally. When Xiaoxiao had whispered to Li Kui, I'd already mentally transported that so-called broken sword back to supermarket space. It wasn't even a weapon, just scrap iron. Papa had collected to craft toys for brother. Li Kui's expression darkened considerably, knowing Xiaoxiao had made a fool of him. Yet unable to back down after public declarations, he coldly snorted. "Even without weapons, hoarding wealth remains criminal. Arrest them all for interrogation. I'll pry their secrets loose." Guards immediately drew blades, surrounding us. Mama's face went white, retreating while clutching my brother and me tightly. Brother trembled all over yet courageously shouted, "Don't bully my parents. Don't hurt my sister." Papa's eyes flashed dangerously as he gripped his makeshift crutch. Today's battle seemed unavoidable. Seems you need a lesson about what war god means. As his words fell, Papa suddenly moved. Supporting himself on the crutch like an agile leopard, he charged into the guard's encirclement. The wooden shaft became no ordinary stick, but an unstoppable spear thrusting, sweeping, striking with battlefield precision and iron-blooded efficiency. Guards proved no match, tumbling about while crying for mercy. Li Kui watched in shock, never imagining a leg-disabled man could possess such formidable skills. Xiaoxiao paled with terror, turning to flee. "Want to run?" Papa snorted coldly, his crutch whipping out to entangle the man's ankles. Xiaoxiao crashed face first into dirt with agonized screams. Just then, Li Kui drew a concealed dagger, stabbing toward Papa's unguarded back. "Careful," Mama shrieked. I panicked. Papa's attention was fixed on Xiaoxiao, oblivious to the rear attack. At that critical moment, I concentrated all spiritual power, summoning an item from the supermarket, pepper spray. Small yet potent, perfect for this situation. Rather than directly produce the spray risking exposure, I recalled an empty honeycomb from the supermarket. Using mental commands to inject the pepper solution into the hive, I precisely hurled it at Li Kui's feet. Li Kui was totally focused on stabbing Papa, completely ignoring ground obstacles. He stepped directly onto the hive unbuzz. The hive burst, releasing pungent, spicy liquid that instantly dispersed. Li Kui was caught completely off guard, choking violently with streaming tears and nose, his dagger clattering to the ground. Cough, cough, cough. What is this stuff? So hot. His eyes burned shut, only able to cover his nose while rolling in agony. Surrounding guards were also affected by fumes, coughing uncontrollably with no energy left for fighting. Papa seized the moment to turn, kicking Li Kui in the chest and sending him flying. He retrieved the fallen dagger, coldly surveying everyone present. "Anyone else want to try?" Guards retreated fearfully, not daring to speak. Xiaoxiao prostrated himself, staring at the blade in Papa's hand with terror. "Mercy, big brother. I'll never dare again." Papa stood over him commandingly. "Xiaoxiao, considering our clan connection, I won't kill you, but remember, dare frame my family again, and I'll show you what is worse than death." Xiaoxiao kowtowed repeatedly. "I remember, never again," Papa snorted dismissively. Sheathing the dagger, he approached me, lifting me gently while gazing curiously. "Xiaoxiao, that honeycomb just now." I blinked innocently. Papa smiled without further questions, simply patting my back softly. "Good child." He knew this was yet another instance of his youngest daughter's secret assistance. Witnessing this scene, surrounding prisoners showed newfound awe, finally understanding that even fallen Xiao Jue wasn't someone they could provoke. From that day forward, none dared gossip about our family, much less harbor ill intentions. Due to excessive spiritual exertion, I felt dizzy and gradually fell asleep. I slept an entire day, awakening to find Papa sitting beside me with tender eyes. Awake, feeling uncomfortable anywhere. I blinked and shook my head naturally, given my infant limitations. Papa sighed, gently stroking my hair. "Don't exhaust yourself so recklessly anymore. You are still small, can't handle such strain." I knew he was concerned. Since discovering my post-ability slumber, Papa tried preventing my intervention, preferring to handle troubles himself rather than burden me. Over subsequent days, the exile convoy remained peaceful. Li Kui was thoroughly subdued, no longer daring trouble. Xiaoxiao became a frightened bird, avoiding us entirely. Just as we approached the northern wastes border, another crisis quietly emerged. That night, our convoy camped at an abandoned postal station. Deep in the night, chaotic footsteps and battle cries suddenly erupted. Trouble, bandits raiding the camp. "Run!" Screams and wails instantly pierced the night sky. I jolted awake to see ragged bandits storming the station, wielding hoes, sickles, and farm tools, while robbing indiscriminately and smashing everything. These were desperate folk driven to extremes by corrupt officials, gathering at the northern wastes border to survive through banditry. Ruthless and cruel, they caught guards completely off guard. Li Kui cowered in his tent, too terrified to emerge. Amid chaos, several bandits targeted our family tent. Seeing Mama Lin, their eyes gleamed with avarice. "This woman's pretty decent. Let's take her back as our boss's wife." Several bandits leered while advancing on Mama. "Don't come closer," she trembled pale, clutching my brother and me in the tent corner. Papa's eyes flashed dangerously, immediately standing with his crutch to shield Mama. "Get lost." His cold voice momentarily stunned the bandits before they burst into mocking laughter. "Where'd this cripple come from playing hero? Boy, be smart, hand over this woman, or we'll finish you." Papa remained silent, gripping his makeshift weapon tightly. He knew these bandits outnumbered them greatly. Direct confrontation wouldn't work, strategy was essential. Just then, I recalled something from the supermarket: industrial-strength adhesive. Extremely sticky, impossible to remove once applied. I immediately concentrated, summoning several bottles and using mental commands to spread the glue evenly across the tent entrance's ground and nearby tree roots. Completing this task left me exhausted yet still conscious enough to observe outside developments. Papa seemed to sense something, glancing at me with dawning comprehension. He deliberately retreated toward the tent entrance while saying, "Don't come any closer, or I won't be polite." The bandits assumed Papa was frightened, laughing more brazenly. "Not polite, let's see your impoliteness." They charged forward with wicked grins. The first bandit reached the adhesive-covered ground. He screamed as his foot stuck fast, unable to budge despite desperate pulling. "What is happening?" The rear bandits paused, confused. "Ignore him, attack." Several more bandits rushed ahead, immediately becoming trapped by the adhesive, some by feet, others by hands, a few even stuck to tree roots in embarrassing predicaments. "What is this demonic stuff? Help, I can't move," they cried in terror, struggling desperately yet becoming more firmly stuck. Papa smiled coldly, slowly advancing with his crutch-turned weapon. Without mobility, these bandits became fish on a chopping board. Papa's movements were swift and decisive, quickly beating the trapped bandits into submission until they lost all resistance. Hearing commotion, other bandits rushed over to rescue their comrades. Papa's eyes hardened, preparing for battle, when hoofbeats thundered from the station entrance, followed by a commanding voice. "Official investigation. All unauthorized persons surrender immediately." Northern Wast's garrison troops had arrived. The station master had sent for help long ago. Hearing "official investigation," the bandits scattered in terror, abandoning their trapped fellows. Troops quickly arrived, capturing all adhesive-stuck bandits while their commander observed the helplessly trapped men. Then looked at Papa standing by the tent with evident approval. "Well done, brave fellow." Papa cupped his hands respectfully. "Merely did my duty." The commander nodded without further inquiry, leading his men away with the prisoners. Crisis resolved once again, Mama sighed with relief, before checking Papa for injuries. Papa shook his head, approaching to lift me while feeling my physical exhaustion. His eyes filled with heartache. "Xiaoxiao, you've worked hard." I nestled in Papa's embrace, inhaling his faint blood scent, yet feeling infinite security. Papa gently kissed my forehead, voice tender yet resolute. "From now on, Papa will become stronger. You'll never need to take such risks again." I knew Papa meant every word. This crisis had strengthened his resolve to quickly restore his capabilities, and we were finally reaching the northern wastes. After countless hardships, we finally reached the northern wastes. The vista was utterly desolate, endless yellow sand, with not a blade of grass growing anywhere. Bitter winds swept across the wasteland, stirring clouds of dust. Distant snow-capped mountains gleamed with cold light under the sun. This was the Great Jin Empire's most barren region, where condemned criminals were exiled, a place countless considered hell on earth. Our reception committee consisted of a Northern Wastes garrison petty officer, who regarded our group of emaciated exiles with obvious contempt. "Listen up, all of you," the officer bellowed. "Northern Wastes rules, survival of the fittest. Your job is clearing wasteland and growing crops. Fail to meet quotas and starve." He pointed toward distant ramshackle huts. "That is your housing, sort yourselves out." The hovels were low and decrepit with gaping roofs and cracked walls that creaked ominously in the wind, seemingly ready to collapse momentarily. Other exiles stared at these ruins with ashen faces, desperate weeping echoing everywhere. How can humans live in those? We'll never survive this winter. I want to go home. Li Kue and Xiao Laosan were equally dumbfounded, never imagining northern wastes conditions could be so harsh. The officer sneered at our family of 4, especially you, Xiao Jue, a cripple with 3 burdens. I give you days at most. Papa ignored him, cradling me while calmly surveying the barren landscape before us. I knew what others saw as hell, we viewed as promised land because we possessed an infinite supermarket. We selected a relatively intact hut that, though dilapidated, provided basic shelter from wind and rain. Mama immediately began cleaning while Papa used his crutch to survey surrounding terrain. I lay on a broken bed inside, consciousness entering supermarket space. I needed cold-resistant crop seeds plus tools for withstanding severe weather. Soon I found exactly what was needed: hardy wheat seeds and a simple greenhouse construction manual, key items for establishing ourselves in the northern wastes. I mentally transported the seeds and manual, which Papa quickly discovered beside the bed. He leafed through the handbook, eyes growing brighter with each page. This is divine knowledge, Papa exclaimed, hands trembling with excitement. The manual detailed greenhouse construction, cold weather cultivation techniques with clear illustrations and accessible language. Mama leaned over to read, her face lighting with delight. Juji, with this we can actually grow food in the northern wastes. Papa nodded firmly. Exactly, we'll not only grow crops but create an entire oasis. Action followed immediately. Next morning, Papa took Mama to examine vacant land behind our hut. Though barren, the soil ran deep with proper cultivation. It could become fertile farmland. Following the manual's methods, Papa began greenhouse construction. Without bamboo, he substituted northern wastes hardy trees. Without plastic sheeting, I provided waterproof canvas from the supermarket cut into small pieces and disguised as rough cloth to avoid suspicion. Brother Xiaobao helped enthusiastically, gathering branches and moving stones with his tiny frame busy everywhere. I maintained daily spiritual spring collection, part for irrigating seeds, part for Papa's continued healing. Under spring water nourishment, Papa's leg injuries healed faster. Soon he could walk slowly without crutches. Half a month later, greenhouse construction completed. Papa carefully planted hardy wheat seeds and watered them with spiritual spring water. Miraculous results followed. Within just 3 days, seeds sprouted with tender green shoots emerging from earth, thriving vigorously, despite harsh winds, stark contrast to surrounding desolation. After another fortnight, wheat seedlings grew lush and vibrant, full of life. Mama gazed at the greenhouse crops with tears of joy. Xiao, we've succeeded. We really succeeded. Papa was equally moved, lifting me while indicating the thriving seedlings. Xiaoxiao, look, that is our hope. I blinked happily, sharing their elation. With grain secured, we could survive in the northern wastes and live well indeed. One day, a herder passed our hut with his feverish child. The boy burned with high temperature, face flushed red, breathing labored, clearly dying. The herder paced frantically yet helplessly. The northern wastes lacked doctors and medicine, no treatment was available. Seeing this scene, Mama felt compassionate. Juji, shouldn't we help them? Papa nodded, knowing that in the northern wastes, additional friends meant extra survival paths. He retrieved a spiritual spring bottle I'd specially reserved, feeding it to the child. Soon the boy's fever broke, breathing stabilized. The herder rejoiced beyond measure, kowtowing repeatedly. Thank you, benefactors, thank you. Papa helped him up, smiling. Think nothing of it. The grateful herder immediately offered several lambs as thanks. Papa couldn't refuse despite protests, finally accepting them. With lambs, our lives became even more prosperous. Mama used supermarket sugar and spices, plus local northern wastes, wild fruits to create delicious honey preserves. These preserves were sweet and uniquely flavored, quickly winning herder approval. Soon Mama's preserves spread throughout nearby nomadic tribes, with herders eagerly trading beef. mutton, and furs for our confections. Our family's fortunes flourished increasingly. Papa used spare time organizing other wrongfully exiled young men for training. Using supermarket ironworking manuals, he guided them in smelting metal, crafting farming tools and weapons. The young men revered Papa completely, willingly following his leadership. Gradually, our family gained reputation throughout the northern wastes. Everyone knew the Xiao household, formidable patriarch, virtuous matriarch, miraculous infant daughter. None dared bully us anymore. Instead, all sought our friendship, observing the thriving greenhouse, surrounded by smiling family members. I knew we'd truly taken root in the northern wastes. This was merely the beginning. Our goal was transforming this wasteland into fertile prosperity. Days passed with northern wastes, winter quietly arriving, snow blanketing the earth. Other exiles suffered terribly, lacking food and warm clothing. Many perished from cold and hunger. Only our Xiao family lived warmly and abundantly. Greenhouse wheat grew magnificently. Approaching harvest readiness, Papa had reinforced our hut with thick cotton door curtains. Inside, braziers provided spring-like warmth. Brother Xiaobao wore Mama's wool-crafted jacket, building snowmen in the yard with delighted laughter. Mama stayed indoors preparing preserves for merchant trading. Papa's legs had completely healed. He daily trained young recruits and hunted in nearby mountains to improve our diet. Our household thrived enviably. One day, a magnificent procession arrived at the northern wastes, led by a brocade-robed official, followed by numerous guards. An imperial inspector sent by the emperor himself. His Majesty had heard that exiled criminals in the northern wastes not only survived but successfully cultivated crops. Curious, he dispatched this inspector to investigate. Li Kugi and Xiao Laosan immediately rushed forward obsequiously upon hearing of the inspector's arrival. The inspector sat in his carriage, surveying barren surroundings with a frown. Li Kui, where are these crop-growing exiles you mentioned? Li Kui pointed toward our home direction fawningly. Inspector, right over there, that's Xiao Jue's family. But sir, that Xiao Jue is no good man. He definitely used sorcery to grow those crops. Xiao Laosan echoed nearby. Exactly, Inspector. That Xiao Jue hoards wealth and assaults officers, utterly criminal. The inspector raised an eyebrow, addressing his attendants. Let's investigate. The procession approached our home while surrounding exiles and herders gathered to witness the spectacle. Li Kui and Xiao Laosan walked ahead smugly, seemingly already envisioning our family's downfall. Reaching our greenhouse, the inspector observed the lush wheat seedlings with obvious amazement. This was actually grown in the northern wastes. Papa emerged, cupping his hands respectfully. Indeed, Inspector. The inspector entered the greenhouse for careful examination, growing more impressed. The northern wastes are bitter and barren, lifeless everywhere. How did you manage to grow grain? Papa smiled, producing the simple greenhouse cultivation manual. Inspector, this agricultural text came into humble possession by chance. Following its methods for greenhouse construction and cultivation, unexpectedly succeeded. The inspector accepted the manual, scanning several pages with evident admiration. Excellent agricultural knowledge. If widely promoted, our Great Jin's grain production would increase substantially. Li Kui panicked, quickly interjecting. Inspector, don't let him fool you. That manual must be stolen, and he is hoarding massive wealth. Xiao Laosan joined the accusation. Correct, Inspector, we can testify. The inspector frowned at Papa. Is this true? Before Papa could respond, Mama emerged holding me, coldly facing Li Kui and Xiao Laosan. Captain Li, Uncle Xiao, one may eat carelessly but shouldn't speak carelessly. Our possessions come from honest labor. What hoarding? Nonsense, Li Kui retorted angrily. Your family eats meat daily with plenty of warm clothing, if not hoarded wealth. What else? The inspector's expression turned dubious. How could the Xiao family live so well in such harsh conditions? Witnessing this scene, I knew the time had come to demonstrate real strength. I concentrated mentally, summoning an item from the supermarket, a bag of pearls. This was warehouse inventory, each pearl perfectly round and luminous, worth a fortune. I mentally transported the pearl bag into Mama's hands. She startled momentarily, then understood my intention. Opening the bag, countless white pearls spilled forth, gleaming brilliantly in sunlight. Surrounding observers gasped in shock. Pearls, so many pearls. Heavens, what fortune! The inspector stared wide-eyed at the scattered pearls, utterly amazed. Mama lifted one pearl, smiling at the inspector. Inspector, these pearls were discovered by chance by our infant daughter. Our family survived by trading these treasures for food and clothing. She paused, continuing, as for the greenhouse crops, those represent our family's sweat and toil. Captain Li and Uncle Xiao speak thus only from jealousy over our good fortune. Attempting to frame us. Li Kuei and Xiao Laosan's faces turned deathly pale, never imagining the Xiao family possessed such wealth. The inspector studied the pearls, then gazed at me with astonishment. Your daughter truly found these. Mama nodded, stepping forward with me. Indeed, my daughter has been blessed since birth, often discovering rare treasures, surely heaven's favor. I looked at the inspector and deliberately blinked twice, then pointed at the pearls and skyward, the meaning unmistakable. Heaven granted these to me. Seeing my clear eyes and the scattered pearls, the inspector understood completely. He laughed heartily. Xiao Jue, you have a remarkable daughter. This is heaven's blessing for the righteous. Turning toward Li Kui and Xiao Laosan with icy regard. You dare slander the innocent, your crimes compound. Arrest them. Attendants immediately seized the two men who pleaded desperately. Inspector, mercy, we'll never dare again. But the inspector ignored them, ordering their removal. With Li Kui and Xiao Laosan dealt with, the inspector addressed Papa with evident respect. Xiao Jue, you are not only an exemplary husband and father but a capable administrator. Growing crops in the northern wastes benefits all people, truly meritorious. I shall definitely report your achievements to His Majesty. Papa cupped his hands gratefully. Thank you, Inspector. The inspector nodded, engaging Papa in lengthy discussion about greenhouse cultivation details before departing satisfied. After his departure, surrounding people gathered, praising our family continuously. Herders cheered, especially loudly, knowing that with Papa's agricultural knowledge, they'd never hunger again. Papa observed everything, then looked at me with blazing eyes. He knelt on one knee, embracing me tightly with choking yet resolute voice. Xiaoxiao, you are not a lucky star. He paused, meeting my gaze word by word. You are the fire of rebirth, the hope of our Xiao family's rise. Mama approached, nestling beside Papa while gazing at my brother and me with blissful smiles. Sunlight bathed us warmly and brilliantly. I knew from today forward, our Xiao family would no longer be bullied criminals. We'd build our dynasty in this northern wasteland. Xiaoxiao, together with my family, would write our legend in this barren land. Our story was just beginning. The night deepened with howling winds, yet warmth filled the mountain shrine. Xiao Jue leaned against stone, holding me while Lin nestled beside him, and Xiaoxiao Bao slept peacefully between them. Sai studied Papa's determined profile, silently vowing, Papa, Mama, little brother with me here. We'll definitely survive well in the northern wastes. Fiance, we regain our strength and accumulate sufficient power. We'll return for revenge. Closing my eyes, consciousness entered supermarket space. Countless goods lined shelves like beacons of hope. Thicky eye knew our family's golden age had only just begun.